Hello, and welcome to Men with Advanced Degrees Play. My name is Bryant. I have a Master of Fine Arts degree from the University of Notre Dame du Lac.
My name is Dane. I have a Master's of Arts in Political Science and Education from Columbia University.
My name is Paul. I have a degree in French and History. I'm a druid and enjoy worshipping trees.
And on this week, we're playing some sort of game in which a man jumps and shoots things. Dane, what are we playing?
So we're playing a game called Risk of Rain. Risk of Rain was released in 2012. It is an action platform roguelite where you are this tiny man.
That's not a real thing.
I know.
What is a roguelike? People say this all the time, and I have no idea what it means because I don't care about video games or their history.
All right, so Rogue was an old game that had a lot of RPG elements and procedurally generated dungeons. So, like, the dungeons were generally pretty random, but at the same time, they also they were procedurally generated, so they weren't complete nonsense. And they also contained a lot of different items that powered up your character and allowed you to succeed better in the game, and that changed the game in very, very critical ways. So the reason that this particular game, Risk of Rain, has roguelike elements is because it has a lot of items that can power up your character and also allows your character to level up and become stronger.
Oh, so Metroid is roguelike because it's you collect the items and become stronger.
No, that's incorrect, Paul, because Metroid doesn't contain any procedurally generated features. Like, the game is fixed.
Oh. So Phantasy Star Online, one of the worst games in my life, is a roguelike because the dungeons are almost random. Like, it'll just, put a bunch of screens together and then that's your dungeon. Watch out for those bears!
So those are sand crabs, Paul.
Oh my god!
Sand crabs.
They're so big!
But the basic premise of Risk of Rain is that you're this little dude who's stuck in this horrible environment, and you're running around and you're trying to escape it, right? You're trying to get back to your spaceship so that you can go and be someplace other than this place that is full of things that want to kill you.
I frequently like to flee places that are full of things that want to kill me. I can relate to our character and his struggle.
So this particular character is female, Brian. There are many characters that you can select from. This one is called...
He's so small. She's so small, I can't really tell.
It's true. It's very difficult to see.
How do you know she's a girl? Does she ever take off her clothes?
It's hard to see her tits. I know. But, so
There's a jelly! Shoot the jelly!
The character is named the Huntress. And right now I'm, kind of fucking around and waiting to get some gold so that I can open up these chests. But I got...
That's a big jelly.
Christ.
That's a big jelly.
But I got bored and decided to spawn the boss. So...
Run away, run the fuck away. Where's your HP? Your HP's fine. I thought that was supposed to be a really hard game, right?
It is. It is if you have no idea what's going on. But I know what's going on. I've played this game a couple of times. I'm pretty good at it.
Nice.
So basically...
Wish I knew how to play video games.
What you do is you run around each level and you try and find the exit portal. Once you find the exit portal, you activate it, and then after you activate it, you have to survive for 90 seconds while a bunch of enemies spawn.
Hey, could you please explain to me the concept of a 56-leaf clover?
So the 56-leaf clover...
Like an alien clover?
Allows champion enemies. So you see that little blue lizard man there? Well, he's dead now. Never mind. So it allows certain monsters to drop items for you. So normally, monsters can't drop items. But if you have a 56-leaf clover, or 57-leaf clover, I don't remember, you can actually pick up items. Or they can actually drop items for you.
That seems entirely arbitrary.
Yes.
Yeah, what's the lore behind clovers making things drop items? Is that how the ecosystem works in this planet?
Sure. Exactly. The ecosystem... Go ahead, Brian.
It's just video game magic, Paul. Don't question it. Did you question why in Lord of the Rings there had to be elves or wizards or the... What do they call? What are the gods of that particular lore called?
Dwarves.
Oh yes, the
Valar.
The Valar. Why the Valar exist? No.
Yeah, they're very valorous, and so they're called the Valar. I think that's how it works.
You know, the understanding
Long before
J.R.R.
George Lucas was a dumbass, J.R.R. Tolkien was also a dumbass, and I think we should appreciate him for that.
No, okay,
Strong
listen.
words.
We've come to terms in this society now that Star Wars is horrible, and that anyone who enjoys Star Wars is an idiot child. That's a fact. That's just a thing we've accepted as a society. But Lord of the Rings is still sacred. I remember when I was in college, and my professor asked me, "What books do you feel are in the literary canon?" I said, "What about Lord of the Rings?" And he shook his head at me.
Did you say that?
And you know what then I did? I punched him. I punched him in the face. Because J.R.R. Tolkien is 10 times better, 10 times more enjoyable, because all that really matters in the quality of literature or art is enjoyment, than Joyce, than Virginia Woolf, than Cao Shui Chin, than anybody. Because it had dwarves and elves, and that's what I like.
Wait, hold on. Did Cao Shui Chin, is that one of your Chinese epic poems? Is that Dream of the Red Chamber or whatever?
That's the guy who wrote Dream of the Red Chamber. I wanted to make my statement there more inclusive of world literature, and the only person who wasn't white I could think of was an 18th century Chinese rich boy.
What about Salman Rushdie? I'm sorry, Salmon.
Salmon.
Rushdie.
What about Salmon Rushdie? I don't know.
So when do you actually get hit in this game? Because you seem to walk through these monsters and you don't.
Yeah, well, the trick is, like, every single monster has a tell for when they attack you. So, for instance, these big clay guys, they have a big old, like, swing that starts up, and then you just get the fuck out of the way. The nice thing about the Huntress, and the reason that I played her is because she's the most overpowered character in the game, she can actually walk and shoot at the same time, which is something that a lot of other characters can't do.
Huh. So it's kind of like a kung fu movie.
Think about walking and shooting, Paul. Think about how difficult it would be if you had a gun in your hand to move and shoot that gun at the same time. I just activated the boss door, so another boss is going to spawn right here. It's the Magma Worm. I think it's actually kind of a cool boss. So, maybe, Bryant, you should cut out your fucking rant about world literature in Chinese rich people and check out this nifty boss that pops out.
I will never.
Do you think Xi Jinping, what's his name? Xi Jinping? Xi Jinping. Do you think...
I think he was talking about Hu Jintao.
Do you think New Mao likes The Dream of the Red Chamber?
He claims to have read it 14 times, but having read that book, it is ridiculously long, and I think he's a liar.
Why would you read that?
No, he didn't have enough time.
Why would you... Wait, was this Mao?
Because
You're talking about Mao or the new Mao? Oh, those guys are cool.
Wait, New Mao? Oh, Xi Jinping? I have no idea if Xi Jinping is...
Look at those awesome giants of light. Those are pretty cool. I like their freaky eyes. It's like one long eye. I expected the magma worm to be bigger. I don't know.
Yeah, well, it's also... the scale of this game is really bizarre. Just because your character's only a few pixels high. Oh, man, I forgot about this part. So, I really dislike... you see that big-ass, group of jellyfish that's flying around?
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, so they're the only things in this game that do actual contact damage, so when they touch you, they do damage. If I got hit by that, I would die instantly.
That's a terrible jelly. That's like a Portuguese man of war jelly.
Exactly. But somehow I managed to evade them and actually complete this level.
It's remarkable to me that, as basic as pixel art is, the way in which it creates a visual style that's, frequently so much more interesting than, I don't know, Call of Duty or something, where clearly 8 million people and $20 billion have gone into making every, image in those games.
You gotta see the cod piece. It has to look like a real wiener.
Well, a lot of the problem, if you're comparing this game that, something with a clear artistic style, something that was designed by two guys, that it's easy to manage the style on something like that. But something like a Call of Duty, where it is, focus tested to shit, and, 1,000 people are working on it, it's hard to maintain artistic continuity. That's why you wind up with all of these bland brown shooters that everyone seems to love so much.
Because, realistic is, it's, the easiest, art style to, have, 150 different people be on the same page. Make it look like reality.
And then, saying something else about pixel art, I think part of it is that it's just as some people like reading books more than they do, than they like having everything explained to them in a TV program, for example, you have to actually imagine what's happening, right? And I think pixel art, because it's so much vaguer and less descriptive, you have to really see, now, is that the character's eye, or do they have, like, black hair? There's more interpretation available, and it's, I think you can kind of make the art style your own in that way, right? What you think about the art is at least as important as what's happening on the screen.
So that makes sense, right? You get to participate in it, right? You're participating in the creation of the world in a way that you're not in like a big budget Call of Duty game, right?
And in any a whole bunch of these nerd things, part of it is like the headcanon, right? The fandom, what you feel about the world in your own little world, right? Which the creators might even not have anticipated.
That's interesting, because I went to a lecture a while back from the writer...
Hitting the wrong way.
Juno Diaz. And Juno Diaz was talking about like what he felt was really bad writing. And he said really bad writing is writing that has no space for the reader, right? And
exactly.
Yeah, I feel like what you say there sounds exactly like that within video games, right? Like a bad video game or a boring video game, or like one that you don't really develop an emotional attachment to, is one that has no space for you, no place where you can like build your own component of it.
I mean, to be fair, Ryan, we're talking about games that people are appreciating because they're art. A lot of people don't play video games, I think, for their artistic merits. I think a lot of people play video games, like Call of Duty in particular, because they want to go out there and they want to fuck a bunch of 13-year-old boys with a shotgun.
I mean, that's what I dream about. Yeah.
To be fair, the only video game I play anymore is a glorified Excel spreadsheet where I manage a soccer team. I am one of those.
FIFA Manager 2016.
I am one of those people, right? Like where I am not playing. I don't really play video games because they're art, but they're much. I don't know. It's nice to look at. Like I'd much rather watch somebody play a video game that's art. I would rather gouge my eyes out than watch somebody play my glorified Excel spreadsheet soccer video game.
What is that? What is that? FIFA something?
It's called Football Manager.
Oh yeah, nice. I just got a Woody.
Yeah, I'm currently living out my dream of managing the Girondins de Bordeaux in France. So I sometimes talk to myself while I play it in a pretend French accent, because it makes me feel immersed.
I bet. Yeah. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Oh my god. I feel like, in a lot of games, one of the most, I think, interesting genres of games that like everybody likes, that nobody really bitches about. I'm sure like there are people who hate this game because the graphics, like, it looks like pixels. But one of the most interesting genres of games that is as popular, I think, almost as Call of Duty, is like the exploration genre. Like Skyrim and Fallout are really, really big. And I feel like that's another way in which it's really interpretive, because you decide, like, everything that fucking happens, you decide where you go and how you finish this quest and if you shoot the guy. And I feel like putting yourself in the story and the same kind of, being able to interpret the story through your own lens, the same effect is achieved by having an open-ended world where you can do what you want, as it's achieved by pixel art in the same way too, right? Because it's you making up a lot of the game happens in your head.
There's a lot more participation in the narrative than something, like your Call of Duty or your, I don't know, other linear gameplay story. Final Fantasy.
More like Final Fuck. Is the 15th one out yet?
No, but I really want to play it.
I want to watch you play it and then judge it really hard. Brian, have you heard about this?
Is this the one where you just drive around in a car the entire time?
Yeah, you're a bunch of sexy boys who are.
You're a boy band.
I watch.
You're a boy band in a Mercedes-Benz who fights fantasy creatures.
You're like, oh shit, it's a behemoth. I'm gonna go camp in my Coleman camping gear.
There was a really bad week in my life where I became really interested in this 15-year-old on YouTube named Frustrated Jacob, who would make all of these really elaborate YouTube videos talking about the various speculation around Final Fantasy 15, and there were these videos when they finally released the demo where he would just drive the car around aimlessly and stab water buffalo with swords. And so like I'm very familiar with this game because I watched Frustrated Jacob.
Man, you know more about it than I do. That's awesome.
And it seems like the thing with that game, right, is it seems like the style of it. Like I'm not a big fan of I guess the Final Fantasy games that I like the best were the ones like Final Fantasy VII, Final Fantasy VIII, where it had sort of like that sort of semi-realistic, like swoopy haircut, like modernist, like all sorts of modern technology stuff, right? I like those much more than I hate like Final Fantasy IX with like the cutesy wootsy art style. And
That's the thing, yeah.
Brian
the
just
worse
really
the graphics
likes.
were.
God damn it, Paul! Let me make this joke.
Okay.
God damn it! Now I set it up. I was gonna say like Brian just likes really sad, mean, and brooding characters. Fucking Squall and Cloud.
Oh my god. Fucking Squall.
Anyway, sorry, Paul.
Fucking Squall. He was so
all
sad.
he did was whine the entire game.
No, he was also really serious sometimes. Like all beautiful men, he would whine and then be very serious, and he needed you to mother him. He needed you to be his mother.
Well, he actually died at the end of the first disc.
Oh, that's right. Just like I did when my mother wasn't there to prevent me from being stabbed with an icicle from a sorceress.
Exactly.
And I think that's really... This is really... Now we're getting into Japanese culture. By the way, how does your jetpack work? Is that photons?
So I picked up a photon jetpack from the magma worm at the end of the last level,
Man, you're
and
cheap.
basically it just allows me to it enhances my
Shit.
mobility quite a bit. Allows me to move around a lot more effectively than I could without it.
Are you going to stay on that little platform the entire time?
I think that this is actually being able to access this platform is really unfair, and I feel bad for the Colossus that just spawned.
You are cheating.
'Cause
you are cruelly. You're like a hunter shooting a defenseless deer with like an assault rifle.
This Colossus is Bambi.
Yeah, but I would have had. He dropped another 57-leaf clover, no less.
Is that really what it's
speak of the
called?
devil.
A 57-leaf clover? Or is that just what Paul?
I don't know. I'm gonna pick it up in a
Alright.
second, but that's actually what it's called. Yes, 56 leaf
it.
clover. I was off by one.
Maybe that's a reference to Slaughterhouse 50. Oh, never mind. Maybe that's a reference to the crying of blood. Oh, never mind.
Strong commentary. Paul. Anyway, I was gonna say the thing about this run through is that I was really super overpowered from the get-go because I got this item called Infusion. So for every enemy that I kill, my character gains 1 max HP. And, if you've watched this game at all, you know that you probably kill between 100 and 150 enemies per level. So basically by the end of the game, my HP is so padded out that there's no way anything can kill me.
So you aren't even playing the
That's,
game as much as you are just being omnipotent.
Kind of walking through it toward the end very, very slowly.
Do you remember in not Final Fantasy? Remember in Metal Gear Solid? I want to say Metal Gear Solid 2, the one where you played as Raiden the whole time or half the time, and he was naked.
Yes.
I remember. That reminds me of the end of that game where like Snake Plissken, taps his headband and says, "It's okay, you can have the ammo. This headband gives me infinite ammo." A thing that makes no sense whatsoever within the context of anything. Except it's like a cheat code from one of the previous games. It makes me think of that, like, oh, you got the secret magic power up that like makes you unbeatable. Or
I don't
more or
get
less
how people love those games.
the
They're
thing
so
is-
fucking bizarre. I like bizarre shit. I can't deal with how fucking weird those games are.
I actually recently played Metal Gear Solid Rising, which was actually a pretty sweet game. It was super anime, and you run around and hit things with a sword as Raiden when he's a robo samurai, as opposed to his lame ass self the lame ass person that he is in 2.
Is that Metal Gear Rising? Which one is that now? Because there's Metal Gear. What's the one with the Guns of the Patriots? What's that? Metal Gear 4?
Guns of the Patriots. I
That
should
was
know
4,
this.
I think.
I don't know.
Hey, what's your plasma chain do?
So the plasma chain, what it does is there's a chance on every hit that I make that I'll form a plasma chain with an opponent, and that opponent will take chip damage from me as long as that plasma chain is active.
Oh, it's like a warlock in World of Warcraft, the most recent game that everyone likes right now. I'm casting one of his dots. Oh my god!
It's a Balrog.
Over there we got a Frit,
Oh, it's a Frit.
Who
Not as good as a Balrog.
who shares the name with the Final Fantasy VII character. So I just basically fly around and try and fuck him up.
Is it a summon? secret?
Yeah, he's the big red hairy guy with fire.
Dude, he's in all the games. He's in all of them from 6 through 12.
Did I specify one of them? Because I didn't mean to.
I said FF7. But yeah, about FF, about Final Fantasy, I feel like a lot of Japanese RPGs got worse when the graphics got good enough for me to see all the ridiculous things people were doing on the screen. Like, when it was just dialogue that was poorly translated. Again, here's interpretation coming up. It was a lot more fun. But now that, like, I can see some made-up Japanese boy band person, like, walk up and say, "Oh, let's do it!" And then he'll do, like, a fist pump and then a pelvic thrust or something that makes sense in terms of the body language of Japan. It's not as good. Like, it's not as universal.
You know, that's true, right? Because, like, I remember when I watched the Final Fantasy Advent Rising cartoon, and you, like, suddenly have to see, like, how it is the artist that created Final Fantasy VII envisioned Cloud and envisioned all these people and their enormous breasts. I was like, oh, these people are really stupid looking and have stupid outfits and stupid hair. While, like, when they're, like, little, like, jagged polygons, even though, you know, Cloud clearly has asinine hair when he's, like, the little polygon dude, like, you can ignore it. You can, like, ignore, like, if a video game were to, let's refer to the video game as a text, right? There's ways in which you can ignore large swaths of the text when they're stupid, when you have, like, that distance, right? Like, when it's not, in a way where, like, if it's, like, much more visceral and much more, like, well put together and, like, in your face, the way a lot of these big budget modern games are, you're forced to, like, make a value assessment about everything that happens, and each, like, stupid thing that happens reflects stupidly on the game. While if there's a part of Final Fantasy VII that's really dumb, or some of the dialogue is really dumb, you just click through it faster and then you go on to the next thing.
Now, is this true, or is it just because we were kids?
We could also have been dumb children.
I mean,
I think
was
a lot of
definitely a dumb child. Now, grab that chain.
I mean,
boost to that chain. Yes.
Wait,
as someone who went home after the 9/11 attacks and played Final Fantasy VII and raced chocobos, once I got bored with watching the buildings collapse, I would have to say that I was a rather stupid and perhaps even cold, callous child.
I played Donkey Kong 64 after my cat got run over because I didn't know what else to do. True story.
it's like, do I cry now? Nah, fuck that. I'm gonna play some Donkey Kong.
Well, to be fair, public mourning over 9/11 is about on the same level as public mourning over Kim Jong-un, in that it's so fucking
Wait.
standardized and taken over by really annoying people.
Okay, I'm really confused, Paul. Did you just concede that your cat was named Kim Jong-un?
No, like when, you know, people, sometimes you need to cry in order to be socially accepted. And I feel like the public mourning over 9/11 was show-offy, was kind of ostentatious in the same way that people cried in Korea when Kim Jong-un died.
Kim Jong-un's still alive, you fool.
You know, that's actually...
God damn it, Kim Jong-il. We're going to replace everything I said with Kim Jong-il, just in a completely different voice when we edit this shit.
I don't know, man. Don't you remember when the North Koreans were talking about Kim Jong-il? Record it in a separate microphone.
Just like Kim Jong-il.
Yeah, but then...
But yeah, I mean, I think you make a valid point there, right? Like where it becomes like a sort of initiation or like a sort of public life where you have to be like, you have to demonstrate like your like membership in the community, right? By weeping profusely.
And isn't it better in that scenario to go into the black part of this rock that nobody knows exists and just play Final Fantasy VII in there?
Dun dun dun! So ends the inaugural episode of this new groundbreaking Let's Play series. What will our heroes find inside that secret area? Will they ever bother to offer even the slightest amount of useful information about the video game Risk of Rain? Will Paul ever show even the slightest remorse for likening those aggrieved by 9/11 to the brainwashed denizens of North Korea? Find out next time on Men with Advanced Degrees Play...